Today I'm going to be replacing the rear anti-roll bar bushers on my Volvo P3 V70, and I've got the car on ramps in readiness for the fitting, and I've chosen to replace these bushers as the old ones are looking in a bit of a sorry state, I think, so we'll see what they look like when we get into them. So we've hit the threads, behind the threads with some penetrating fluid and a little bit on the surface. I'll do that both sides. I'm trying to get behind the nut rather than the face of it, because we're going to be pulling all that thread out. So hopefully I've got it right. So now we can take a 13mm socket to the pair of bolts that are going to come out, and it's a little bit stiff, but it's doing it. We could get the impact on it just to speed things up. So hopefully we should lever this off to get to the old bush. Yeah, it doesn't actually look too bad. It's quite a loose fit. So yeah, not bad that. So these are Phoebe Bilstein bushers. I will tell you later what the part number is, and it looks like they're a decent fit in there. We'll just have a little test run to save doing too much underneath the vehicle, as there's not a lot of room when it's on ramps, and it does look like there is a chance that that's going to go in there, so we're not going too far, and we'll assemble it. I suppose now could be a good time to put a bit of rubber grease in there, which I haven't got to hand, so I'm going to try it without. Hopefully the bolts are going to be long enough to take up the slack. Well, I've got the bush on, and it's a good fit. We can't get this bracket on as easy as we could. We've got to open the bush out, so it's not wanting to go on. So I've got the upper bolt on, a couple of turns, and the inside's covered in red rubber grease, which shouldn't harm the bushers. So I've got a bolt in the upper and a couple of pairs of mole grips on, and that one went on full out stretch, and that one a little bit tighter. So the plan's just to incrementally tighten them up till I've got a chance of getting that bolt in the thread. Well, that worked quite well. We're just a little bit off aligning this thread, as you can see. So I've got a screwdriver, and we'll just lever it, and hopefully we can start this bolt. Yeah, it's doing it. We've got it started, or near as, damn it. Just wiggle it around. Always start bolts with your fingers, as you're not going to cross thread them that way. You don't want to be cross threading anything to do with this, as it's under the car. It's a nightmare to work on. Well, I've put a blob of grease either side, and what I want to do is run these bolts up evenly and carefully, checking that the rubber bush is going to connect with that dimple there, so all is well. So I can now torque these bushers up to 60 Newton meters, and do bear with me, as I do have a few things left to tell you in this video before I tackle the other side. I quite like to slacken them and then tighten them, as often you do end up in a different place when you've done that. So we'll do the other side. I have taken a wire brush to these bolts to clean them up, to make them easier, and what I do is I just put a bit of grease on them before starting the threads. Now, as for the bracket, I left that as is, with the exception of the red rubber grease. I put a smearing of grease all on the inside and quite a bit on these edges, just so it pushed it through on the bush. So that's how the other one went together. You can see there's a good liberal amount there, and the bolts also had some multi-purpose grease on it. You can use oil or copperies or anything you like. But it is absolutely imperative you don't use regular grease, because grease will degenerate the rubber, washing up liquid, things like that. When you get the new bush, they're really stiff, you know, to prise apart, but I've come up with a little tip for that. I just basically take a pair of snipe nose pliers and just open them up the bare minimum to get them on the vehicle. That should do it. I'm quite happy with that distance. I think we should be able to squeeze it over the rest of it. Now there is actually a part number on these bushes, as you can read. Well, that job went quite well. And so here we've got the old bushes. They were looking in a bit of a sorry state. I think I'm glad I replaced them. Now, if you're contemplating doing this job, there is a part number on the packaging of 106551. So many thanks for watching, and why not subscribe to learn of more low cost repair solutions.